as we rise.
This is Astrology Aesthetic, where you claim your power and remember who you really are. I'm Kiki, and together we'll work with the stars to guide the way. All right, welcome back, Starseeds. So today what we are going to be talking about is the rising sign, and why we're discussing the rising sign as one of the things that unlocks your starseed potential is one of my, it's been a few years, I don't remember who said this, but one of my favorite things that I come back to is I had someone tell me that our rising sign is our sun sign that we've mastered in a past lifetime, like in our most recent one. And the reason that really resonated with me is because once I started embodying my rising sign, I learned that my life moved and flowed easier. And so a lot of things about the rising sign or the ascendant is that that's just the energy that comes naturally to you. It's the energy that people identify or feel within you. And so we're just going to break it down in a very simple way. And what this means for you as a starseed and a light worker is that when you embody these traits or this energy, for you, you are able to make a bigger difference. Whatever that looks like to you, whatever that difference is, it just comes easier and it moves and flows quicker. Okay? So the best way for me to break this down for you is to split all of the zodiacs by elements. So, for example, fire is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And what I will mention is you can absolutely, skip and just listen to what your specific rising sign is. But what I will say is if you move through and listen to all of it, you'll be able to identify and start practicing and learning astrology instead of just remembering it. Does that make sense? So instead of just like, oh yeah, I know I'm an Aries rising, and that means I like to initiate things. If you learn that Gemini risings are idea people, you are able to identify and connect with these concepts out in the real world, okay? So with that said, back to the fire signs. So if you think about fire itself and what it does, this is a really good way to, remember the zodiacs themselves. But fire, it warms, it ignites, it spreads. If you have a candle, like a birthday candle, okay, and you light an unlit candle, the first candle itself does not lose out on flame. It just shares its light and continues back to its original flame, and so forth. So it's the only element that can share itself without diminishing, okay? And what's so cool about that is that's incredibly true for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So it shows up a little differently in each one, and I'll explain. So Aries risings, as previously mentioned, are the initiators, and they are the bold, brave, courageous ones. So if you have an Aries rising and are actively choosing to keep yourself safe, air quotes, or not allowing yourself to be seen, I invite you to take a look inside and ask yourself why. And, if it's because of something that's happened in the past, that means it's time for you to address that and start working through healing that portion, whatever that looks like, okay? Because when you smother your rising sign, it is truly such a loss for yourself and for everyone around you, because that is just one of the easiest ways to share your light. Okay, so for Leo risings, if a Leo rising is in a space that is healed and they are able to share the stage that they put themselves on, such great change can happen. This is essentially the flame that keeps everyone warm. Does that make sense? So if you're like out in the cold, the Leo risings are going to be the ones inviting you over to the bonfire they've made. And in a world that deserves this type of light of unity, Leo risings are truly some of the best at that specific type of thing. And for Sagittarius risings, the flame is knowledge, it's optimism, it's like the wildfire. It spreads quickly, and I know that emotions, regardless of what kind, spread quickly, especially when it's the strongest emotion in the room. So if you're one of the most negative people, that energy is amplified and is so heavy and dense, and it spreads to everyone around you. As, for example, say it's the Sag rising, okay? But if the Sagittarius rising is in that optimistic, positive, joyful, adventure, you guys, we've got this, we can change the world type of mentality, they speak with the conviction that other people will actually believe. And it's not this fairy tale concept of, yeah, we can change the world if we just put our mind to it. It's like, no, you guys, we can change the world if we just put our mind to it. And that's a really, really beautiful tool to have. And, with the fire risings, they every aspect in our chart, okay, whether it's our sun, moon, rising, whatever it is, comes with a shadow side, meaning there could be things to heal from or work through it. And for the fire signs, that can be related to confidence or belief in themselves. And when they work through it, it's like, that's it, it's done. When they remember, like, oh, no, I'm actually built for this. I've mastered this in a past life. It's just kind of like, it's almost like a life pop quiz. If you want to just put it in the simple terms, it's like, it's not like our sun sign in this life where we've got really interesting and big lessons to learn through. And because I know it could come up, for those of you that have both the sun and rising, this is just like a little bonus thing. I feel like you guys have absolutely mastered so many things in that. Say you're an Aquarius sun and Aquarius rising, okay? That to me is a really huge indicator that you've mastered so many concepts from that one zodiac, but there was more to learn. And so you chose to bring that into this next life. So I feel like there are elements you've completely mastered in the sign, but there are still more to learn. So do with that what you will, but know that the rising for the fire signs is all about confidence, ignition, and action. Okay? Now, who should we do? Let's do the air signs next. The air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And the air signs are I guess I would say the idea people. It's, they're quick-witted, they're very, very smart. The ideas, it's like they just come, that phrase, like, it just came to me out of thin air. These are the rising signs. And what's really cool about that is, I will also say, okay, well, what's cool about that is when they are in a space of radical trust and self-knowing, they can flow and ride these ideas and share them. Like, think about when fire meets air. It's just like, it's expansive. But I will say with air signs, they are prone to overthinking. And it's not a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of, okay? And so, let's see, with Gemini risings, they are chatty and like the communication is so keen with the risings. They can like bridge worlds. And, to me, in a world right now that deserves a lot of clarity and bridging of sorts. I feel that the Gemini rising signs are truly feeling called or pulled to communicate in a different way. And they're actually excited and curious about it. That's what's neat. The Libra risings are, so they are definitely more aesthetically pleasing. So let's put it like this. What I mean by aesthetically pleasing is they are the ones that can create like an art piece, okay? And it creates conversation or chatter, and it brings people together because it's like such a beautiful thing, or it's very thought-provoking. And I feel like Libras are sometimes put in this box of just like, oh, they're just so sweet and so kind. Like, they are also the sign, like you guys, their sign is the scales, and it's all about justice. And I feel that Libra risings at this time can really have some grand ideas about how to balance and harmonize our world. And I would well, let me touch on Aquarius before I send an invitation. Aquarius right now is a huge deal. They are the natural, like, rebellion kind of centered, future focused. In the realm of like the rising sign, they know how to take a structure, break it down, and rebuild it in a way that's more beneficial for everyone involved. And the rising signs, the air rising signs are truly here if they can master the mental chatter again and just remind themselves, like, I've done this before, and I came to, bring this in and embody this energy. That is when, like, all of these worlds collide. Again, I wish more people talked about how cool the rising signs are in our chart. I feel like there's a lot of focus on the sun sign, understandably, but the rising sign to me is where, if people learned how to remember and embody this energy, that's where the big shifts come. Okay, the earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And if you think about earth and what it does, well, first of all, a really cool thing that earth does is it literally holds all of the elements. It holds fire, air, water, and earth itself. So that's really cool. And it makes sense because if you think about the earth itself, it is a grounding unit. And so Taurus risings are here. Well, let's think about what Taurus is. Remember, it's the bull. It's a slow moving creature, but when it embodies patience, and if you are a Taurus rising, if you're embodying patience and just acknowledging that you are the one that cannot be knocked over, it is such a powerful place for a Taurus rising to realize that they are here to embody all of the senses. Again, one of those things that I feel are often overlooked for Taurus is they get the bad rap for being stubborn. But if they release that and their fear of change or unwillingness to change and just learn a little bit more flow, they can be the most grounding and stable, I guess, signs of all of the elements to ignite change, right? So if like fire and water and air signs are all doing their thing, like if you think about all of them working together and just having like the stability of like just a huge boulder, period. Whatever fire, water, and air are working on will be supported on that boulder. Okay? That's how I love, Taurus risings to think of themselves. For Virgo risings, this one is so fascinating because they're here to essentially like make things more beautiful or run smoother. And in this world that we are in, again, to have systems be refined and flow, smoother, it's such a tool to have a Virgo rising, because they just pick up on the details that no one else can see, or they just overlook, and it's not even on purpose. It's just Virgo risings are here to literally look at the same thing you're looking at, but see the little screw that popped out and is under the chair. Okay? So it's vital for Virgo risings to just acknowledge that their attention to detail is not only such a flex, for one, but two, it's integral to this process of rebuilding and creating light work in and being the light. So just embrace that attention to detail. And Capricorn risings, so here's what's cool about them is they are all about the long game. And if Capricorn risings just embraced like, hey, okay, if I'm talking to all my Capricorn risings right now, like, you guys do share some qualities of, Aries, for example. Like, you like to move fast, okay? But you are about the long game. And, the little things that you plant and nourish now will grow into a huge, beautiful tree that will support you and your family and your family's families for generations and generations to come. It's all about strategic decision making, and just, I guess if I had to say to the earth signs, like, you guys are all about patience and structure and long-term thought process. And it's I kind of made the earth signs sound like the lame part of the zodiac, but in my opinion, they are the most important, because they are foundational in such a different way than, fire signs. Like, none of us would be here without the other. Okay, we could not all be earth sign risings and expect great, beautiful ideas or change or, emotional follow through, what be it. Okay, so with that said, last but not least, and some of my favorites as well, I say favorites, but everyone is my favorite for a different reason, but the water signs, which are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And what's really special about water rising signs is I feel that these people are the most empathic, and that can be a pro and a con, but I'll explain. The most empathic of all of the people out there, period. And the reason being is, for one, they can walk into a room and immediately know where the vibe is at. And because this is a sign, if you guys liked that concept of, this is the sign you mastered in your past, this is the sun sign you mastered in your past lifetime, and that's your rising. So if you're Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces rising, you are just so in tune with emotions and, frankly, the spiritual realm, that you're just tapped into so much flow of, spirituality, creativity, emotional overwhelm is very, like, a prone thing for you guys. And so with that, I would say, make sure to, I'll just throw you guys a tool. You can bubble yourselves before you leave for the day. So just imagine putting yourself in a bubble and filling it with your favorite things. Like, I don't know, my sister's really vibing sea turtles right now. So just imagine, like, in this bubble, you have water and like sea turtles flowing around you, or you can fill it with a specific color or whatever that is. Just fill your space and shield it off, especially if, with the climate that the world is in right now, you grounding your energy and preserving your energy is so important. Like, probably the most important of all the signs, because you are prone to all of these emotions. And it is also such a beautiful thing to be so aware and empathic in that way. But just learn to preserve and protect your energy and, flush it out if you feel like someone's emotional gunk got in your auric field. You can do the bubble and just flush it out as well. So, okay, with that said, Cancer risings are, you guys are really, you're really special, because Cancer risings create the, like, arguably the safest space for emotional processing. And I will say that, especially if they consider you family, you are just going to be held in ways and loved in ways that, you frankly deserve, because everyone deserves love, and especially starseeds who are here channeling and changing and shifting and alchemizing and transmuting and doing so much, not only internally, but as well as externally. Cancer risings do hold that space and hold that love. That is just so, it's frankly very sacred, and it's beautiful, and I love that. So if you're a Cancer rising, be, smart with where you share your love and where you hold space for emotion, but also if it's with people you love and know and trust and are deserving of that extra energy from you, share it freely. Scorpio risings are so fascinating, and the light work with them is twofold. So let me start with this. Scorpio risings act as a mirror. So it's kind of easy to identify a Scorpio rising, and I love you guys, and I know you'll probably all agree with me. They tend to have really bad RBF, and that has nothing to do with them. They are simply reflecting your energy. So, if you're both Scorpio rising and you're just like mirroring each other's energy, that's a fun one. But Scorpio risings, you have the very fascinating task of inviting people to go where the uncharted territory is, whether and specifically emotionally, okay? Because water signs, they heavily resonate with the emotions. So Scorpio risings, it's an interesting one, because I find that a lot of Scorpio risings, politely so, are afraid of their own power. And I'm just going to say it. Enough's enough. There is nothing to be afraid of. You are a beautiful, powerful soul, and it is time to embrace that, especially now. And, if you feel yourself resisting, sit with this question, like, why am I resisting my power? Just sit with that. And the last sign is Pisces. And for Pisces risings, you guys are really cool. I would definitely say you are arguably, okay, all three of the water signs are psychic and they have psychic gifts, but I would say Pisces risings tend to have more of the psychic gifts, just because they don't have the shell that the crab or the scorpion has. Okay, which does make them more prone to extra sensitivity. And so again, remember that bubble tool. And what's really cool for, Pisces risings is they have, how do I put it? Like, they just have the ability to flow between worlds. Like, they can be here and be in the spiritual world at the same time and not even realize they're doing it. Astral travel and all the things, just spiritually come very naturally to them. And so with that comes a great responsibility of being a vessel. So, you could be the vessel for your guides, others' guides, you could be considered a medium. All of these things, but you are a vessel to bring forth truth, especially you're a bridge in an easier way of putting it. So, yeah, those are the rising water signs. And just a little bit of a recap. Fire risings. You guys are big, brave, bold, confident, endearing. And if you find yourself resisting any of that energy, sit with why. Tune in with what part of you doesn't want to share that light, okay? And again, it's not a bad thing. It's just information. And the sooner you learn, then the sooner it can shift. And who did we do next? Air. So with air signs, just embracing that gust of wind type of idea, energy. And if you find yourself overthinking, which you guys are very prone to, then what's that create? It's like the 5 senses tool. You guys could use that tool. So it's like, what are 5 things I can see, 4 things I can touch, 3 things I can hear, and then 2 I can smell, 1 I can taste. Do that. That's a great grounding practice to get you out of your head and into your physical body. And for earth sign risings, you guys are great grounding energies. Just because everyone comes to you with their stuff because you are the stable one doesn't mean you have to take it on as your own. So make sure to earth your earth sign. Go stick your feet in the grass, touch the tree, hug it. All of the things that bring you back into your body as well. And last but not least is the water signs. So the water rising signs, like we mentioned, the bubble tool. And just remember that you guys are prone to extra emotions that are not yours. So again, bubble, flush it out, and know that your gifts are here to be reactivated. And all of this to say, with the rising signs, I want to leave you with this. You as a starseed, no matter if, even if you don't, fully feel the call or the pull for your rising sign, for one, I would invite you to tap in and do a little research on your rising sign and pick one thing that you would like to either flex that muscle, work on that muscle memory, or if you really do identify with your rising sign, lean into that. Because again, once you embody this energy of your rising sign, it just becomes easier to live your life and be your purpose. And if you're in this space of like, well, I don't know what my purpose is, let me gently remind you. You incarnated here on Earth as a starseed, and it is time to share your light. This is a really great time to just be that light. And if you look at the night sky, you wouldn't be able to see any of the stars if it was broad daylight all the time, right? And stars shine brightest when it's the darkest. And so together as starseeds, let's just shine. Let's just share that light. So with that, I will leave you with this reminder that you guys are your power sent from the stars. And the reason I say it in I am my power sent from the stars, I say it because when I say it in I am, it activates that same neural pathway within you. So when you hear it, you are hearing yourself as saying, I am my power sent from the stars. And trust that because you are. Until next time, starseeds, when we will do a starseed activation meditation. I'm so grateful you tuned in today. As always, take what resonates and leave the rest. If you'd like to explore pieces that align with your starseed purpose, visit astrologyaesthetic.com. Trust yourself. You're exactly where you're meant to be.